it's Lorna Moon, and you're now listening to the Shepherd Revolution podcast.
Shepherd Revolution.
Hey, this is David, and welcome to Shepherd Revolution podcast. I'm so excited that we are continuing our series, Teaching the Change Lives, and I'm so excited about my guest today, a life coach who specializes in working with moms and teens. The teenage years are often filled with anxiety, low self-esteem, and academic pressure. On top of this, teens are looking to showcase their own autonomy from their parents, often leaving parents and moms in the dark about their teenage struggles. My guest practice is centered on helping teens navigate the challenges of adolescence while finding their own voice and moral compass, and helping moms build trust with their children again. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, Lorna Moon. Lorna, oh my goodness, it's good to see you again. You just got married.
Yes, I did.
You just got married, and you've been on this journey of teaching teen moms and teens. Like, what was that journey leading up to? Like, how did you end up on that path?
It's so funny, David, because if you had told me I would have been working with teens or young people a year and a half ago, I would have told you were crazy. My own teenage years were very tumultuous. My mom, she was very sick with cancer during my teenage years, and she was, in and out of the hospital, in and out of, doing chemo and other types of treatments. And so she really wasn't able to be the mom that you'd really want to have as a teen, through no fault of her own. And so I took on a lot of the responsibilities of the household and trying to take care of the family. And as a teen, you already have enough going on that trying to take on juggling all the adult responsibilities along with the teen responsibilities does not lead to good. And so I, handled that pressure in, the most destructive way possible: drugs, bad relationships, sneaking out, doing the stuff that like parents really don't want their kid to do. But when you have no healthy outlet, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And, I created a big mess for myself. And then when my mom died at 16, I just even fell apart even more. Once I moved out of the house at 18, I was a mess. And it took me, it really took me until last year to make peace with losing my mom and all the things that, I missed out on having her there for. And the guidance that I didn't have growing up. And so it was really finally coming to peace with that and being healed from my own journey that made me realize that I had the responsibility, that God had given me this particular set of circumstances and this particular journey so that I could use that to help others. So I kind of felt like God was giving me a mission to help as many teens as possible, especially teen girls, just because I understand that experience more, to not go the same way that I went. That it was really my duty to step up. And so it went from, where I would spend time with people that, with teens or whatever before, and kind of feel like this resentment that, they had parents that did stuff with them, that, got them activities, all these things, like kind of like resentment for what I missed, to really like feel joy in being around them and seeing them, not the ones that did have, good relationships with parents and good things going on in their life, and be able to feel joy for that. And then also feel compassion for their struggles and to want to be that helper. I tell some of my teen clients, it's like, when you play that game Chutes and Ladders when you're a kid, there's the ladders there's especially that big ladder. Everybody wants that big ladder that takes you all the way to the top, right?
Yeah.
So you can win the game. But then there's also the big chute you got to watch for that'll take you all the way down. And there's the various chutes before. It's like I tell them that I want to be the ladders for them, and especially that big ladder, as much as they'll let me be that ladder for them, so that they don't end up going down all the chutes like I did.
So you mentioned like healing. You want to be that ladder for these teens. Like, did you heal in isolation or did you heal in a community?
I can tell you it was a combination of such. It probably, my whole healing journey has probably, what started at age 20 and it's still going on, but to make peace at age 44, you're talking about over 20 years, right? And so it's almost like, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. So it's like I was handling little bits at a time, little things that I could make peace with, little bits of healing at a time. And then really so much in the last 5 years, I almost made it kind of like a second job. Like I knew, like it was God opened up for me that I was really able to dive deep into everything and to find that healing. And some of that came, solo from books that I read and meditations and kind of doing that solo work. And others came through amazing coaches and guides and others that had, been through the healing process. So very much a combination. I think that both pieces are so important.
And I hear their faith just speaking through you right now. Would you say that faith is a large component in your life?
It is a huge component of my life. And, I can tell you the times of my life that were the worst were when I had no faith. I had no relationship with God. And the more that I've learned to turn to Him and to ask Him for help, and ask Him even for help on the things that you think are silly, right? Like the wedding dress that was the Halloween costume, right? Like even silly things like that. They're like God doesn't care what you wear for a wedding dress. Even silly things, like the more you ask Him, the more He's there to radiate love to you. And He wants to be there and be that for you. But you have to have the faith and you have to just trust and just ask and be open. And so faith has gone from being like no part of my life when it was a complete disaster to growing ever more. And then in the last few years, it is really a huge, huge, huge part of my life. I could say it really is like my life.
That's so encouraging. And I know there's probably people out there listening right now and they've been discouraged of the faith, especially going over this past year. What would you say some encouragement, or how would you encourage those who are just weary in their faith? Because it can be exhausting walking this faith journey. What would you encourage them with?
Yeah, it really can. And, as someone who lost faith as a young person, and having found it again, I would tell you that, like, you don't want to stay in that place of, like, losing your faith. But I would just, implore you to come to the Lord and ask Him for help, but be there to listen and know that He's not going to always respond. Like, in fact, He very rarely responds where you just get a voice in your ear telling you what to do. It would be really nice, or if He'd write you a letter or send you an email or a text. But, you have to, but what God wants you to do is to be still, because He is there and responding to you in the stillness. Mm-hmm. One of the most beautiful things that came about when we were in Texas, my husband just picked up his car and we were driving to our friend's house we were going to be staying. It was about an hour and a half drive. And the song came on, and it was a Christian song. And a big part of the song talks about even when you don't see Him, you're working. Even when you don't feel it, He's working. And it was like, it just hit me, even just flashing back over the last year. And things that had gone on where it just seemed like, this is a hopeless situation. Like the fact that we were there and we were getting married and all these people were coming and, all these beautiful things had come together. And we had been through times where it just didn't seem like He was working. And just like, okay, what is going on? But just knowing that we don't always understand what He's doing.
Yeah. And
that there's a lot of times, a lot of orchestrating that has to go behind the scenes to bring things to fruition. And just know that God is working. So, listen to those music, those favorite musics, take a walk, just do whatever it is that you do that makes you connect with God, whatever that is. I know it's very personal for different people. And just know that he is working, and just even ask him, God, just show me even the tiniest sign. Show me a sign that you are still here. And he will show you.
That is so encouraging. That encouraged my spirit just now, and I'm thankful for that. And it takes us to, the series theme, Teaching to Change Lives. And you're essentially echoing, trusting the process, trusting the provider and the process of the provision, right? So Lorna, what does teaching to change lives mean to you? Like, when you think of your life being changed and transformed and experiencing this healing this past year, what you're doing with teens, what you're doing with mothers, what does teaching to change lives mean to you?
To me, teaching to change lives is just remembering that we're all here for a mission, and our mission is to change and touch lives. We don't know which lives. Sometimes we will actually get to see that, I see this young person grew up, and I see that I was able to do this. But sometimes there's so many people that you touch that just a kind word, you will never know how that ripple effect completely changed their life for the better. And so teaching to change lives means, to me, is that remember that you're always teaching to change lives. With every interaction, with everything you do, even just somebody that you smile at in the grocery store as you push your cart by them, that thing, that right there could be a teaching to change lives, because that smile remind them, hey, I do have good in my life. I can smile. I can be kind to my child that's sitting in the cart in front of me, even though they frustrated me today with, throwing fits or whatever. Like, you're constantly teaching to change lives. You just need to remember that in every moment and try to shine that light the best you can at every moment.
You said teaching to change lives. You made it so practical. And oftentimes we, as educators, as leaders and parents, we get this high in the sky theoretical, like, okay, this is what we get very philosophical. You said teaching to change life is as simple as smiling at the person at the grocery store. It's as simple as letting your light shine. It's as simple as being grateful for the things that you have and then sharing that with others. Like, were you always this optimistic and this hopeful?
I wish I could say I was, but it's something that's grown out of healing, and it's something that's grown out of my faith and grown out of trusting the Lord and seeing how he put different people in my life as examples. One of the things that attracted to me, my husband, so much when we first met is that he was so kind to everyone. He would talk to the checkout person at the grocery store. He would have conversations like he was best friends with the server, the waiter or waitress in the restaurant. Like, he was so kind to everyone, as if everyone was his friend. And I was like, I want to be more like that. And it really helped me to be aware, because before I was just like, I want to be in my bubble, like, come take my order and go away. Like, not that I didn't like the person or whatever. It's just like, I'm here to be with the person I'm eating with, not you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he showed me he just modeled a different way to be. And as I, also sought to model that, it just opened up so much joy. Like, you smile and wave at a neighbor or say hello as you're walking the dogs by, and it fills your heart with joy. And it fills them with joy, probably, but you don't know how they feel, but you do see them smile and being acknowledged, and you know that it feels good to be acknowledged yourself. So then you just realize that, like, it's so easy to give joy. It doesn't cost anything.
That is so
powerful. And it just feeds you.
Joy that can be felt by us and others, and it just exude. I love that, and it makes perfect sense. Like, that's how we can teach to change life, when we're operating from that place of joy, and like your husband, operating from that place of kindness and befriending people and seeing people as humans versus just objects. It impacts us in such an incredible way. Lorna, when people want to get connected with you, how can they get connected with you?
I would say the easiest way is to hop on my website, lornamoon.com, and there is a way to contact me directly there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for